CM Punk beats MJF is the headline we thought we were going to get. MJF actually beat CM Punk in Chicago. Elias, what were your initial thoughts on this match?
I honestly didn't expect CM Punk to lose.
Right. See, that's the thing, right? I thought for those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is Weekly Wrestling Heat YouTube channel. I am Angel. That's Elias. We just witnessed what I think is a surprising but not surprising match with MJF and CM Punk. This started for me, Elias, at 8:20 p.m. Central Time. And my first thought was 40 minutes is a lot of time for these two guys. And we basically got two matches inside of one.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't too excited about how the first one ended, but them restarting the match kind of made it up for me in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was a good catch by the ref, which kind of took away that heel thing that MJF loves to do, but he kind of redeemed himself at the end.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead. We'll just do a recap. Kind of as in the early moments of this match, it was a lot of slower movement, methodical by Punk. He was really kind of dominating the match up to. I mean, he even had a Pepsi twist. I think he hit on MJF at one point. And MJF had a moment where Punk hurt his arm, which kind of plays into the second part of the match. But he eventually gets his wrist tape and chokes Punk after Bryce had turned around for some reason, and he puts him in like a headlock, and Punk basically faints, and the match gets called. About pretty simple breakdown of the beginning. Eventually, there was still about 20 minutes of the show left for me at that point. So I was like, well, what are they going to do next? This is the main event. Don't know what's going to be next for 20 more minutes. And Bryce finds the wrist tape and recognizes kind of what happens and decides to get a reset of the match. What overall the first half of the match, Elias, what did you think?
I enjoyed it. It was something it's a calmer pace, but at the same time, it's one of those where things built up. So it was a good steady match. It was a CM Punk match because CM Punk matches he loves telling his story.
Absolutely.
And I think he was able to tell the story how he wanted to in this one. And then has MJF got the upper hand with the wrist tape and stuff like that. Like I said, it goes back to what I said. It was a good catch by the ref. Given that there was still TV time left, restarting the match was the most logical thing to do.
It was, and I think it happened. You made a joke before we went live that this felt very much WWE-ish. Earlier in the week, I saw a match where the referee didn't see something in WWE, and he basically called it, even though we are trained to say if the ref doesn't see it, he can't call what he doesn't see. So it did bother me for some reason in the WWE match, but it didn't bother me here because it was kind of obvious what happened.
Well, it bothers me either way. It still bothers me because if you're I guess I'll put it like this: if you're claiming to not be like WWE, but you pull WWE tactics, I just think it's wrestling tactics because we see this all the time. And I think people are just more harder on WWE because they the refs there literally turn a blind eye to some of these things.
I would argue it's WWE's mentality on how it's being used over there that drives them. But anyway, the second half of the match kind of starts the same way the first half did. Punk basically going to town on MJF. MJF basically has a big little comeback, really selling injury to the arm. Even he put MJF in a couple of holds, and he just couldn't keep a hold of it. great match. Continued on for quite a while. The big thing is at the end of the match, Wardlow comes out because MJF looks like he's going to lose. And he actually hands MJF his ring. Ooh, Punk throws MJF in the ring. He stares at Wardlow because he's kind of perplexed that Wardlow would step away from Punk, and half-heartedly is trying to interfere with Bryce to get him to pay attention to something else. And MJF clocks Punk 1, 2, 3, and the crowd is shocked. But MJF beats CM Punk in Chicago.
I was not a fan how it ended, but I did call this last week when we talked about this.
Mhm.
We said that one or three things is going to happen. MJF wins cleanly, CM Punk wins cleanly, or MJF wins with some effery.
To be fair, everyone who might watch this, that are 3 of the 4 options. So,
But I called it that it was going to end in a screwy finish.
yeah, it was
And
screwy.
And does this do anything to CM Punk? No, it was a match that MJF needed to win. We might see the rematch, which and hopefully it happens. Hopefully, the I guess the effery, I guess best way to call it, isn't a present in this next match. To make it a screwy finish, I hope we get a definite winner with a actual solid. But I did like this. I did like this match. Just watching it on. I didn't watch it with the commentary on as we were doing our Royal Rumble recap show. So if you're watching and you want to watch our recap show, go to youtube.com, look up Weekly Wrestling Heat, and you'll see our recap show from this week. And it's pretty fun one. But yeah, I need to go back and watch it with commentary and stuff like that.
I'm very much looking forward to rewatching this match with commentary. Only kind of touch point I have on this, and I'm very interested to hear your thoughts as well before we move on, is AEW using the length of their matches to try to make it feel like it's a bigger match than it is. This match could have done with a little bit less time.
I agree. I would agree. I think they are. But I think it adds that big fight. Like you said, it does add that big fight feel when it's not a big fight feel in a Dynamite, because that's what they try to do to get, I guess, the rating pop from their fans. So it does build into that. So I will agree to an extent. Sometimes the matches should be shorter, but they play them out longer just to get that crowd reaction, the crowd pop into it, because they saw success with the 60-minute matches. So they're trying to see how far they can go before the audience starts getting bored and disinterested in it.
For sure. Well, everyone else out there, let us know what you thought of the Punk and MJF match, and we'll go ahead and let's move on through the rest of the show. Elias, you ready for this?
Yes, let's start it off with the very beginning of the show. Wheeler Yuta versus John Moxley. Unfortunately, well, not fortunately, but there was an issue that happened today where it caused Brian Kendrick to get pulled from AEW. We're not going to go into it. That's we try to keep that kind of stuff away from it.
We'll let the professionals deal with that one, right?
Yeah.
I think Moxley comes out to a ruckus crowd. Chicago is a great crowd. They were great throughout the night. I did get to hear that part of it because that was before we were live. And Wheeler Yuta comes out with 2 of the probably biggest, most over non-wrestler wrestlers, I guess you could say, gimmicks.
Two of the
most over wrestlers in the business.
The most over gimmicks in the business
with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. Yeah,
and that was interesting. Like I guess seeing him team with the best friends or Chaos or whatever they're called. I think it's pretty interesting to see them align. I'm not gonna lie, I like Danhausen. I went through the rabbit hole as well. And
did you now?
So I liked it. I will say John Moxley made Wheeler Yuta look like $1 million today.
And Moxley's doing some really good work.
Yeah. After that was the most interesting part of it, sort of say, because
you want to talk anything else about the match?
I didn't really. It was a good match. some good spots, some bad spots. You can still tell Wheeler Yuta is still green in the ring as well. Moxley's carrying the match most of it, in my opinion.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it from what I got. I got more interested in it after the after segment because I had just got home from work and I was just like eating and watching that. So I was like, at that when I saw Daniel Bryan pop up, I honestly thought that it was going to be a fight. And
Gotcha.
then what transpired afterwards was, I would say, one of Brian Danielson's best promos in AEW so far. Um, I kind of like the fact that he's trying to take over AEW and he wants Mox to be his right hand man in a sense
Hmm.
in it and take over together, and him throwing shots at Sammy, throwing shots at all the champions and all that stuff. It made sense to what Daniel Bryan wants to do, and that's just fight.
Hmm.
What were your
Yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah. No, for sure. I think Brian. Um, this is a better idea than I think I even wanted. You know, obviously I want these guys chasing the title, but you sit back and think about it. How do you keep them away from the title also? Because you don't need them there consistently, but you want them to be important. And being able to train this Wheeler Yuta guy is going to be really good. Being able to train him, uh, be around Lee Moriarty, Brian Danielson teaching Lee Moriarty. Oh, the guy's already halfway there, you know? Daniel Garcia with Daniel Bryan, stuff like that, just working with those kinds of people by being that veteran presence, and saying, what if we train the future of professionally wrestling? Like the line he says is it just I think it's good. I think it would work out well, and I'm
I
interested to
think
see where they go.
I think the clash of styles between Danielson and Moxley is perfect for these guys.
Mhm.
Because if you look at Daniel Garcia, for example, Daniel Garcia is a great in ring technician like Brian. Not as great as Brian, but he's good.
He's got a ways to go too, though. Yeah.
So you add that mixture of Brian Danielson getting more technical and teaching him the insides of it, and then you get the brutality that John Moxley brings to the ring.
Mhm.
Sometimes it adds a perfect combination. You add all three of those, you got a killer death squad right there.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be good no matter what they do. This company's shown us no other way than that. So, looking forward to it.
We'll
We go to a
see.
break, and
But the cliffhanger, of course, he didn't give an answer just yet.
yeah,
He just left with just giving it. I thought that was a perfect way to end it.
yeah,
Um,
it kind of does remind me. Man, I'm going way back here with this one. See, I want to see what you think. It kind of reminds me of when Jericho proposed something very similar, and Moxley had the inner circle shirt on. Do you remember that little
mhm.
segment? I think that's where they're going, and being able to pull from something like that is pretty cool. Moxley's just maybe he'll just say yes this time, as opposed to hitting a paradigm shift on Danielson.
I'll be honest with you. I think we're gonna get a match out of this before he says yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think so. I think holding it to Revolution and then afterwards, moving forward, is good. Is going to be
Going
good.
into the next
So
segment,
the next thing we see after the break is Brandy Rhodes and Dan Lambert. Not much to talk about. They're just talking to talk.
I will say this. I If you want a heat magnet, call somebody city another city. I have not seen. Well, I have, but since ECW or GCW. Um, but I enjoyed her getting booed out the building by Chicago.
Yeah,
And
it's just how you gonna start your promo trying to get booed out the building and then try to attack Dan Lambert to try to get cheers when it's not really gonna get you cheered. We all know that.
Damn Lambert, I'm sorry, damn Lambert pretty much owned my Brandy on the mic. Like
Well, of
the
course.
the only thing that I will say that gave her a little pop was, well, two things. One was basically throwing that shot at Ethan Page, saying that we only signed you to try to get Josh Alexander.
That's not necessary. I think
But
I like Paige.
yeah, but it kind of throws a shot that's saying that you're not the important person that we really wanted.
I
Um,
don't I don't I don't need Brandy demonizing someone who we already want think is got get being misused. That's my take on that.
so that was my bad take on it. Like I thought that that was the low point of it.
Yeah.
Um, I think
So
the only thing that I liked about that comeback was when he talked about Amanda Nunes. So if you follow MMA, Amanda Nunes left America Top Team and started her own team. So that was about the highlight of it. And then uh
well, she
Paige
also
Van Zandt,
lost.
yeah, but also Paige Van Zandt coming out wasn't really a moment. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't care about that match if it happens.
Cody's gone. Someone's got to do the Cody thing, and why not be the wife? After that, we have Matt Hardy with Private Party. Uh, Isaiah Cassidy on Rampage is going to fight Sammy Guevara. Thoughts?
It could be a good
Excited?
match.
Yeah, that's my thought. And of
I already
course,
know that we already know who's gonna win, but
mhm,
it's gonna cause more dissension within a faction that pretty much needs to die already.
I think it's being painfully obvious, which is good. Sometimes it's good to set the expectations of what's going to happen. Matt's being very hard on Private Party. Uh, Andrade's tranquilo. He's gonna be calm about it to try to get Private Party on his side, and kind of do that. Get rid of Matt basically in the organization. Uh, Come back afterwards, and we've got Malachi and Brody facing Penta and Pac. Pac comes out with an eye covering completely, looking like Daredevil almost. He's blind completely. And we start the match, and he's evading him, and he reveals that his eyes are perfectly fine, which is, you know, the setup of everything. So cool match. That I enjoyed, and it was cool to see Penta very over. Right, Elias? You had the Mexico flag in the front. Good to see. Good to see the culture's alive and well. Getting the Cero Miedo chants. The Olays were flying in Chicago. It's really good to see the support for our boy Penta.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. I will say, regardless of how I feel that they're booking Aleister Black, I love the entrance of the House of Black. Um,
What's wrong with the booking? The guy's massively over right now.
it's getting there. It's not where I would expect them to be, but it's getting there. I am a Malachi Black person, so I enjoy him in the ring. So I wish they would book him a little better, but it is what it is. Um,
I'm don't know how much better you can book the guy who keeps winning, but sure.
Put a title
Um,
on him.
Not everyone has to just have a title to be important.
Eh,
Look here, WWE, Mark. We'll get over this anyway. Yeah, there's people in WWE who have titles you don't even know. Did you even know Shinsuke was Intercontinental Champion or whatever he
yeah,
is? I
yes.
didn't. Was the last time he even had the belt? Anyway, we'll move on. Um,
I could say a lot
basically,
about that, but yeah.
Black blows the black mist into Penta's eyes. They do the Dante's Inferno. So now both Penta and Pac have gotten the mist blown into their eyes. Let's see where that goes. Good match. Good match.
Most
Uh,
definitely good match.
then we got what I think was a low point of the show, but it's still good, I guess. Ruby Soho and Nyla Rose.
They
Nyla
work well.
basically obliterated Ruby.
They work well together, but that was a squash match. I'm
Yeah.
just call it for what it is. It was a squash match.
Yeah, which, you can tell the story. Nyla's very upset that Ruby cheated her, you know? Um, but yeah, 1-1. And I think we're going to a blow off match where maybe the winner can get a TNT title shot or TBS, excuse me, title shot or something like that. Who knows? But yes, Nyla basically destroys Ruby. Not much else to say
Let's
here.
not forget about the Adam Cole promo that he did before this match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Basically saying he's undefeated and he still doesn't get the respect that he deserves, and that he's gonna face Evil Uno on Rampage, and he'll show what he wants next.
hmm I think it's kind of funny that he basically cut the Britt Baker promo after
Yeah,
her loss. It was the same thing. Um,
I think that's what
we'll
they're going
see.
for with him. Like the whole trajectory of this storyline is going just like Britt Baker to make her. He's gonna end up being champion, and yeah,
Yeah, you think he's gonna beat Hangman?
I think he'll be the one to beat Hangman, and then Kenny Omega comes back, and then they'll feud for the title. Then
Hmm. Okay, we'll see. After that, Hangman comes into the ring to talk about his match against Lance Archer. Cool. Thankfully, I guess
eh.
Hangman gets to talk. I wish we could see more of Hangman. I don't know how much of this is just Hangman doesn't know what he wants to do now that he's champion, or how much of it is just lay low for a while. Let's get all these other bigger stories also flowing underneath, and go from there.
But
But it was cool to see him.
that's what bothers me about some, like, even WWE does this, where their main champions are
Mhm.
put on the back burner or for other storylines. So
Yeah.
like I think even him, like, just coming out every week, or even if it's not every week, every other week, doing a match instead of, cutting a promo or something, some presence of him being there as champion, would make more sense in a booking sense. um
It's also very hard to take the first challenger realistic in any sense, right? Like,
but they're making Archer look strong.
of course, but it's always, you don't expect the first opponent to ever really win. And I'm not happy with seeing Lance Archer be put in this spot, because I like Lance. I do really like Archer, and they're very smart, by the way, and keep putting this Texas death match not in Texas, because Archer was over in Dallas, and I know he would be in Austin and San Antonio if they were doing this
I
here.
thought next week was I thought next week it was in San Antonio.
That's a whole month away. It's like in April, March.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so, unless I'm wrong.
No, it is. It's March 16th. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think, yeah, they're smart not doing this. This is in New Jersey. So, yeah, and then they have Florida after that. So, uh quite a ways after that. Anyway,
Okay,
yeah.
so they spend 2 weeks next month in March,
Yeah,
16th, and they come back on the 23rd to Austin.
it's going to be San Antonio and then Austin, and
Yep.
I'm going to both of those. Any thoughts on, oh, sorry, we didn't even continue. So Lambert comes out for some reason with Jake the Snake and Archer. There's a beat down, blah blah blah. Yeah, cool stuff. Chris Jericho's backstage, inner circle team meeting that he wants to have because of Santana and Ortiz in the match the previous week.
Is this the end of the inner circle?
That's not all of the inner circle, though.
No, but this next meeting, would that be like the road to the end of the inner circle?
I think there will be an agreement that let's go do our own thing. We all still respect each other, and if we're ever needed again, we can rely on each other. Sure. Yeah, Chris, I know. Like Hager, like not everyone's there. I think Hager's preparing for an MMA match. They were saying though, and he's you're not allowed, I don't think, to be in the
You
ring or
can't have any
something.
physical contact
Yeah.
with anybody until after your match. In a
Yes.
sense,
So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So yeah,
I don't know
I
how
don't know.
I don't know how to feel about that. It's it, it's just, I'm ready. This should have been over a while back.
Which part
Um
of it?
Inner circle, the whole
Uh,
unit.
I mean, I think it's fine that you can still have that group, but they could have established, guys, we're gonna go do our own things now. we love each other or whatever, right?
But
Whatever we
but
do.
the way they're going about now, it seems like Santana or Ortiz are gonna either have a heel turn, or they're gonna or something's gonna happen between that in that meeting, um,
Mhm,
which I also suspect that Eddie Kingston's gonna have something to do with that.
mhm. Which is why it won't be a heel turn.
Would it be a heel turn or would it be a face turn?
I would
Because who's a
cheer.
heel? Because right now they're
I
faces.
think there's shades of gray with this. Just depends who they're fighting. I don't think you have to be a heel or a face in this case. Santana and Ortiz, I'm excited to see them just do their thing. You know,
It's about time.
these are guys these are
It's about
guys
time.
who I when they debuted, I was there. Right, it was pretty exciting. No, I wasn't. That was in a different show. But they when they got with Inner Circle, when that all came together, I was there for that, and I hadn't seen anything else from them besides what they're doing in this company. They're great on like the darks and the elevations, stuff like that, where we get to see them live after the shows, right? Like they did a dark match, I think, for us here in Houston. I really like them. I just want to see more of them. And I think Santana cuts a mean promo. Ortiz is a crazy person. Some of the stuff he
I
does.
honestly, I think Pride and Powerful is one of the most underrated talents in AEW, and that's not because they're paisas, not paisas, but they're part of the Latino gang. But I just think that they're they're underused. Like,
Mhm.
yes, I get their point of them being in the inner circle that made them elevate them a little bit, but they were already over before they came in.
See that I don't agree with that though. I had no clue who these guys were, and them being in the inner circle made me interested in them.
See, I knew them from Impact when they were part of LAX, and
I,
their run
I
in Impact was great.
I have no clue who they are.
See,
I had no clue. So they needed this. They did need this inner circle thing, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do moving forward because of what they've done with the inner circle and the time that's been given to them by Jericho. Jericho can get a lot of hate for saying he keeps bringing them over to his thing. I think it's just gone on a little too long, but all the stuff he did up to Blood and Guts for all of these guys in the inner circle. Let's call it what it is, right? Like Sammy's TNT champion. Santana and Ortiz, people are clamoring for these guys to get away so they can start doing their own thing. And like Chris is saying here, have a big run with the title belts. So I hope when they leave, they do get that shot at giving a long run. And I think they'll do a good run as opposed to what we're seeing with the past two tag champs so far. Jurassic Express, nothing to write home about. FT, or excuse me, Penta and Ray Phoenix, nothing to write home about. Quick feuds, really nothing happened. So yeah, hopefully they're gonna get that shot. Um, that really was after that was the Punk MJF match, which we've already talked about. So overall, I think this show was pretty good. I wouldn't say there's anything super amazing outside of the Punk MJF decision. Um, so yeah, I think it's a solid show. 3.5 out of 5, I think, on AEW scale. Would you say
three.
three, something like that? Yeah, I don't think there's too much else really to go into. So,
I think
alrighty,
the opening and the ending of the show was the best part of it.
yep.
And that's pretty much like what it tells you about the rest of the show. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't like there's
Mhm.
nothing apart from the start and the end that make it good.
Yeah,
Uh,
which you know what? It's better than we can say for most shows in wrestling, though. I was still entertained with everything that happened in the middle. It's just there's it was the middle of the show, I guess. That's how I'd say it. It is better what they're doing now with trying to intertwine storylines between these matches. If you recall, maybe a year ago, it was just match something, match something. Like there wasn't really this intertwining of storylines plus those matches. So um, it's just a new format that I think they're trying, and it's gonna work eventually. So
we'll see.
I
There's
appreciate
still
it,
things.
Chris. So
There's it's still hit and miss with some of the things. As always, we always have to remember that they're still trying to find, well, not
the
trying to
rhythm,
find their footing.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, they're on a news station. I kind of like stopped saying they're trying to find a rhythm because they're in year 3. But I think it's still they're still trying to find out who they want to push or what they want to push has the main those main event stars. And I think right now it's an interesting situation that it we're in with them, which I like, but also dislike because there's certain things that that I see that remind me of what WCW used to do back in the day.
hmm.
And that is the booking choices that they make with some stars and stuff like that. Um,
I do not agree with you at all on that part of it. I think they're doing a way better job than WCW. I didn't watch it consistently back in the day. I did watch enough of it to know that there was a lot worse things going on there, even
well,
in the good times.
at the
And
good times, it's always the just put like this. A lot of it is a lot of what they're doing is right is along the same stuff that WCW did when they were on top.
mm,
And a lot of the stuff that they're getting wrong on certain booking aspects and certain things that they do is along the scales of what when the decline started. But there, I see more positives than negatives, so that's not a bad thing.
I
Uh,
think you're not used to seeing a really good show. So when one little bad thing happens, you think it's the end of the world. So that was our AEW
that's
recap.
you, sir. That
Everyone,
is you,
I'm
sir.
not
That
being
is
negative
you.
about his show. You are. You're the one comparing him to WCW and the decline. And we just had a fantastic episode. This is easily the best wrestling show that's happened this week. I would watch this way over Raw. I'll watch this way over SmackDown. Way over NXT. I think you're just,
SmackDown hasn't even happened yet.
and I
Okay,
already know this is better. That simple. All righty, everyone. So I want to thank you guys for watching. We went a little over time, Elias, but
it's fine.
I think this is a good format that we could do moving forward if we choose to continue this kind of Wednesday recap, even if I have to do it on my own. I think this is a lot of fun to talk about right afterwards.
No,
Chris,
I really think that this is something that we tried that's new. I think we did since we did our WWE recap show earlier, which we focused a lot on the Royal Rumble, which we had a lot to talk about. Was a good format, so we might see if it hits or not. So we'll see. Like always, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the road to 100 subscribers. So just make sure to
oh yeah,
click go to YouTube, type in Weekly Wrestling Heat, like and subscribe to our channel. Once we hit 100 users, we will be giving away a free wrestling
t-shirt,
t-shirt.
any wrestling t-shirt. I
Does
know our videos say at NXT. I think it's any
it's
wrestling
any at this
shirt.
point.
Yeah.
But you never know what you're gonna get. You might get a Lee Moriarty shirt. You might get a freaking Sammy Guevara shirt, or you might get a Danhausen shirt. Who knows? We'll see. We'll whenever that winner is pulled,
I think you get
we'll
to pick it
get to pick
personally.
it. We might do that. I don't know yet. We'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week, next Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. This was an off day for us because of the fact that Texas is going through a winter watch warning. So we don't know if we're going to be back tomorrow. So if you're in Texas, stay safe, please, ladies and gentlemen. Stay warm. And let's hope the lights don't go out.
Please,
Please.
I don't want to be stuck in the freezing cold again like last year.
um, but
Last
uh, But as always, just should make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on our social media pages, Weekly Wrestling Heat on Facebook and YouTube, on Instagram, Weekly Wrestling Heat TV on Twitch, and also follow our TikTok at Weekly Wrestling Heat. Moise is coming up with some good quality content for you. If you want at any indie shows that he goes to, you'll see some stuff from there, and you'll see some good stuff from highlights that we do from our show. So, but from me and Angel, we are officially out. Good night, peace, stay warm.